Well, Hawks fans, the three-game skid is in the past. We bounced back strong, flying high, flying fast. Buckets were dropping. The crowd had a blast. The Jazz, they hit a wall, they couldn't handle our class. From first to last, we bought the pizzazz. We don't talk all that jazz. Welcome back to Hawks Digest, everyone. I am Chris Tip Moore. Hey, happy to see all you guys once again. Take off your shoes, leave on your socks, and we're going to get into the post-game thoughts about our Atlanta Hawks versus the Utah Jazz. Again, like I said, three-game skid is over with. The Atlanta Hawks take care of business tonight in a convincing fashion, and that's 147 to 134. Now, coming into this game, guys, we were coming off of that horrific loss against the New York Knicks. Now, I didn't see a lot of that game, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, from looking at highlights, looking at the box scores and everything, you can definitely tell that the Knicks had their way with the Hawks pretty much from midway through the first all the way until the end. This game was completely different. This game, the Atlanta Hawks were able to control the Utah Jazz almost like in a tie position where you just grab them and you just control them which way you want to go. That's exactly what the Hawks did tonight against the Utah Jazz. And coming into this game again, the Utah Jazz, they had lost 8 consecutive games. And we were not trying to let them, you know what I'm saying, get off of that schneid, you know what I'm saying. They were coming in. Also, since February 28th, the Utah Jazz are 2-19. They won February 28th against the Minnesota Timberwolves. They won again back on March 19th, and those are their last wins. So coming into this, they are really trying to find a way to win any way that they possibly can. I'm pretty sure at this point they just want to finish their season off strong with at least one win somewhere. But it was not to happen tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. No, no, no. We can't allow that because we was on a three-game losing streak, and you looked at this game and you looked at it like, okay, Atlanta, this is your opportunity. This is your shot to go ahead and shake off those losing streaks, shake off that losing mentality, shake off that losing aura, and get back into the win column because you needed to. You desperately needed to tonight. And coming into the game, of course, no Jalen Johnson, no Clint Capela, no Larry Nance, no Kobe Buffkin, no Jacob Toppin. But we had already have found out coming into the game that these Utah Jazz were not going to be playing Lauri Markkanen, Walker Kessler, John Collins, shout out to John too and salute, Jordan Clarkson, and others. So it's like coming into this game, you like, all right, this should be a dog walk because Lauri Markkanen is a problem. Walker Kessler is a blocking machine slash, rim protector. Period. He can get a few points too. John Collins has been playing well for him. Jordan Clarkson is their X factor. So it's just like you didn't have a lot of those guys. You feel like it would be maybe like a dog walk situation. It seemed like that. It did, but you have to admit, guys, this game did get a little hot at toward the end of the game, and you did have spurts to where you just like you wanted to win by more points. But I'm gonna get into that in shortly. I definitely will. Definitely will. The Hawks, man, they shot the ball well tonight. Okay, they shot 57% from the field, and we hit 22 threes. That is 53% from the field. From 3-point range. That's something we just don't do often. And when you see it, you just have a big smile on your face. But on the other end, the defense was preposterous. Utah, they were 45 of 87, which is still 52%, and they made 20 threes. So that right there, you like I said, when you wanted to at least balloon the lead some more, that's what one thing is what I'm talking about. But the Jazz, they gave up 81 first half points to the Atlanta Hawks. Again, we were on 141 points in the first quarter. Then you back it up with 40 in the second quarter. Now, Utah did have a better second quarter. I admit they scored 36, and then they had their best quarter, which was the third quarter, scoring 43 points against our Atlanta Hawks. But we still scored 38. And so it was a high scoring game. Honestly, for me, I just feel like on a team that has only won 16 games this year, people are going to score points. People are going to put the ball in the basket. But this was one of those games to where, thank God that you did your job. This wasn't necessarily like a huge win. It was a big win because you needed to get off of that losing streak. But I wouldn't call this like a huge win. You still did what you were supposed to do, and thank goodness for that. But me personally, and I could be the only one that feels like this, let me know in the chats if you feel the same way. We shouldn't be giving up 134 points to the Utah Jazz. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to put a damper on this win. This is a big win, like I just said. Not huge, but big win, like I said. Again, I mean, what we won our categories that we normally like to win. Points in the paint, 62 to 42. Fast break points, 24 to 17. Bench points, 56 to 51. Also, points off turnovers, it was tied with 19 apiece. We only gave up 11 turnovers compared to Utah's 10. I mean, we won a lot of good categories, so I'm not trying to, deflate how we're feeling right now, off of a Hawks win. I just, personally, I just feel like we should have won this game by more. Example, they just lost to the Indiana Pacers back on Friday, 140 to 112. If the Hawks would have won by that tonight, you would have felt better about this win. It still wouldn't have been like a huge win. It would have been like a you taking care of the business, but we would have felt better about it. Only beating the Utah Jazz by 13 points. Now, yes, I already know you're saying, hey, man, we barely beat them in Utah. It was a Trae Young heave on reason why we even, won back in Utah. I get it. I get it. Back then, Utah probably wasn't as bad as they are right now as well, too. From a confidence standpoint, from a morale standpoint, and from a coaching standpoint. So, coming into this game, like, I'm glad that we won. I'm glad we was able to make this a winning night for the Atlanta Hawks and our Atlanta Hawks faithful on this rainy ATL weather. But again, I just feel like, guys, we should have beat them by more points than what we did. And we should have been able to stop them on the other end because, again, the defense was preposterous. Now, I do want to get into some individual performances. There were some guys that, did their thing tonight, and I definitely have to talk about them. So I'm going to get into the first guy, and his name is Vit Krejci. Yes, Vit Krejci, man, tonight. Perfect from the field. No, I'm serious. Vit was perfect from the field. 23 minutes. He was 6 of 6. Again, perfect from the field, 100%. 5 of 5 from 3. 17 points. I'm just like, come on, Vit. That's what I'm talking about right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I like to see. Great game from Vit Krejci. He also gave you 5 assists, so he was distributing the ball, kicking the ball, gave you 3 rebounds. As a guard forward kind of position, I still like that. Again, like I said, I like rebounding guards. Takes away from the defense, of course, and it gives you extra possession. So shout out to Vit Krejci, man. This was definitely huge points because you think about it. Vit doesn't have these points. Vit doesn't have these 17 points. I have the game that he has. You have to look for those points to come from somewhere else. And of course, like I said, with the Hawks shooting as well as they did tonight from the 3-point line, and also being hot from inside as well, that made it better for the Atlanta Hawks, to win this game. Because if you had a game to where you didn't shoot well, like if you had a game that you did against the New York Knicks, that right there would have been a bad thing for you, So hey, you gotta take that for what it is. Again, also, I do want to comment about the Knicks game. That 3 o'clock game, that was pretty crazy because you don't normally see stuff like that. A 3 o'clock game, what I'm saying, for the Atlanta Hawks, what I'm saying. Then the next day you got to bounce back and then, what I'm saying, play a 6 o'clock game. So it was early. At the end of the day, what I'm saying, we're in the league. We have to come off of it. I believe the Knicks maybe had extra rest as well, more so than the Hawks. I mean, Hawks still got some rest, but I mean, an extra day or so of rest, so you got to take that in consideration if I'm not mistaken. But still, 3 o'clock game, it hurt the Atlanta Hawks. And, what I'm saying, I'm glad that Vit Krejci was one of the guys that helped us bounce back in this particular game. Next, George Niang. This is not one of my top three guys, but since he's here, George Niang is a guy that is hard to evaluate. I say that because if he's playing and he's on a heater, or if he's playing and he's knocking down shots, he's effective for you. If he's not doing that, you look at it and you like, okay, so what is he really doing? I mean, he's a body out there. He's going to basically, what I'm saying, chirp. He's going to talk noise. You love that and stuff like that. But you think about it, when he's not on that heater, it's hard, man. It's really hard to feel like George Niang is giving you anything. He only gave us 6 points tonight, only hit two threes. I know he was out there, helping on the defensive end and helping with spacing on the floor because you got to account for him. You don't want him to start knocking down shots. So that's one thing that you gotta consider when you think about George Niang. I was talking to my buddy Bryce about him, and we both agreed that he is interesting to evaluate because you just don't know which way he can go. But this was another one of my guys who did well tonight, Trae Young. And not just him, but the Hawks had one, two, three, four, five, six, seven guys that all shot over 50% or better today. So, and Trae Young was one of those guys. Dyson Daniels was another guy. Zaccharie Risacher, yet another guy. Karis LeVert, Mo G, even though he was 2 of 3. Also Terrence Mann, even though he was 3 of 5. But still, what I'm saying, like all these guys shooting 50% or better tonight. Trae Young was one of the guys that led the charge in that. He was 8 of 16 tonight. 4 of 9 from three. A couple of those 3 pointers, you're like, you didn't necessarily have to take it, but we're shooting pretty well. Go ahead, do your thing. Three or four from the foul line from It's Free, 75%. Trae gave you 5 rebounds. Again, I like when Trae gets rebounds. Dyson Daniels, I know he's going to get rebounds, but I like when Trae can at least get about 4 to 5 rebounds. I think that is a good thing, and that means that the flow of the game is going in the Hawks' direction. 15 assists. I mean, that's just something that he does. Honestly, if guys are knocking down shots like this game, Trae Young can always have games to where he's having 12 plus, 15 plus, 20 games, stuff like that. That's just stuff that can really happen when Trae Young has the ball in his hand and guys are knocking down shots. You're knocking down shots, Trae will find you. I mean, we know that. Trae will find you. You're not knocking down shots, Trae is going to try to take it into his own hands. We know that as well, too. But this year, he's been more trusting in his teammates than anything. And tonight was another display of that. 23 points for Trae Young, 15 assists, yet another double-double. He has the most double-doubles by any guard in the league. What have I believe 43 now this season. Hey, you take that and you run like hell with it. All right, my next guy that I have to talk about, and I believe he deserves it, is Onyeka Okongwu. Great bounce back game, Double O, because against the Knicks, he was absolutely atrocious. Now, I'm not going to say trash or anything like that, but he know his play was atrocious. These players, they know when they play bad, okay? They know that. So to really, say about a player playing bad and everything like that, you're really preaching to the choir. But you got to, let it be known. Double O, I'm going to let it be known tonight that you were 12 of 18, 66% from the field. He was 2 of 5 from 3, 40% from the 3-point line. Onyeka is getting better at that shooting that 3, especially when it's straight up. You know, I feel like he's getting really better at that 3-pointer to where he's at the top of the key and he can really just, you know what I'm saying, just go right into it. Mo G had one like that today too, where he was at the top and by himself had all day too, by the way, to shoot it. And it was just like straight on, splash, knockdown. You love to see it. Shout out to Mo G as well. He did well in his minutes. He only had 10 minutes, but he did well in the 10 minutes that he had, scoring 8 points for the Atlanta Hawks. But Double O also added to this game again. He had 12 rebounds and he had a whopping 27 points for our big man. Now, again, you can say what you want about Double O, about the size or anything like that. He's not going to grow any taller, and honestly, he doesn't need to get necessarily wider or anything like that. If anything, maybe gain a little bit more strength. But Double O is out there using skill to score. Okay, he's undersized against certain lineups. You know, so there are guys that are taller than him, that have longer wingspan than him. Onyeka Okongwu is using skill to score. He's using his mind, his intelligence to score. Because if not, Onyeka would never score. If Onyeka didn't have the effort that he had and just the IQ and being able to work on his game, Onyeka would never score. So 27 points from Onyeka Okongwu, 12 rebounds. But I'm not going to sit up here and tell you guys we are good, okay? I'm not going to sit up here and tell you guys like that because I'll be lying to myself and you guys, and I'm just not going to do either. We still do need big man help in the front court. When Jalen Johnson returns, that will help that. And also we have to see what the NBA draft looks like, free agency looks like, you know, and seeing who's going to return, who's not. But we are in the final stretch of the regular season for our Atlanta Hawks, okay? We're in the final stretch. We only have 4 games left. So it's crazy because it's March Madness, and, you know, and salute to the UConn Husky ladies because they took care of business against South Carolina today. But we are in the Final Four. The Final Four of the regular season for the Atlanta Hawks, because after this win against the Utah Jazz, we going on the road now. 3 games on the road. 3 big games on the road. One is against a team that has leapfrogged you briefly right now in the standings of the Orlando Magic. We have the Orlando Magic in Orlando. Then we have to try to see if we can get a lick back against Brooklyn. Then after that, we have to take care of business against the 76ers before we come back home to end the regular season on what could be a home court advantage game against the Orlando Magic once again. Those Orlando boys, man, they're going to be tough to play. Okay, they're going to come in motivated. They know that if they beat us on Tuesday, that it's a good chance that we may not be able to recover. Then, guys, I just want you to know that these standings are getting really, really crazy. I do not have a graphic in front of me to let you know what the standings are, so I'm going to tell you guys what the standings are right now for the Atlanta Hawks have to deal with. Okay, again, Orlando is in front of us, 38 and 40. You know what I'm saying? We now have 37 wins, 41 losses. So we're right behind them, but they are in front of us now. Then we have the Chicago Bulls, who are 36 and 42. Then you have the Miami Heat, who are 35 and 43. The Atlanta Hawks cannot afford to slip up in these Final Four, because the Atlanta Hawks could go to bed one night as the 8th seed, possibly the 7th seed, and wake up 2 or 3 days later and they're the 10th seed. Then, even though I don't see them catching up, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. At least you don't have to worry about Toronto, Brooklyn, or any of those guys like that. But last thing you want to see is the Atlanta Hawks dropping down to that 9th or 10th spot. Because in the play-in, aka the Atlanta Hawks Invitational, you got to think of it this way. You want as many opportunities for a win as possible. If you're at home, that's a good thing. If you're the 7th or 8th seed, that's a good thing. If you're the ninth or 10th seed, one L and it's over. We already have been through that before because we've been the ninth or 10th. We've been the ninth seed before. We've been the 10th seed before. We've lost, and that was it. This year right here, I feel like this Final Four is going to be very important. We cannot afford to falter. We cannot afford to lose focus because, again, we could possibly drop down all the way to the 10th seed. That's just how close this race is in the Final Four. But, guys, that's my thoughts about this post game. Again, good win. Glad to see the Atlanta Hawks, get out of that losing column and back in the win column. Important stretch coming forward, guys. It's gonna be good, man. It's gonna be good. We're gonna see exactly what happens, guys. But until next time, peace and blessings to you all, and to you all, you know what it is. I'll holler.